Hi, you beautiful beings. Welcome back to another episode of the OntheLaulau podcast. Welcome back to episode 28. It has been so freaking long since my last episode. It has been almost 2 months, which is crazy. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you might notice that the decor is a little bit different. OMG, your girl moved into her very first apartment, hence why I haven't recorded. I just knew that the next time I was going to record a podcast episode, it would be in my new apartment. So I have been waiting to be more settled in. And now I feel like I'm pretty settled in. I'm getting used to the whole thing. And it's really fucking awesome. So today I wanted to talk to you about the past month, 2 months of my life and everything that has been coming up because obviously I have been wanting to move out of my parents' home for a while. I think I've always been the type of person like I can't wait to have my own kitchen, my own cleaning closet, whatever. Like I'm that type of bitch. Like I was excited, okay? And I knew that it was something I wanted to do maybe this year, but I didn't know I didn't know it was going to happen so quickly. And I just want to talk about this today when it's crazy how fast shit happens when you make a decision within yourself that like this is what you want. So, with my previous relationship, obviously me and my partner were talking about moving in together. We weren't sure, blah blah blah. And I had always told him, like, maybe I should move out on my own first. Because I think that when you're in a relationship, obviously you want to move in with the person, but it is so important to live on your own because I think there's a different type of freedom and independence that is built when you live by yourself. And I have always loved being by myself. Like, I'm by myself now. And obviously, there's loneliness that comes up, right? Because I'm human. And I think connection is very important. Like, I am in no way trying to isolate myself away from the world. So it's like I have to remind myself to like go out there, talk to people. If I see someone and I feel called to saying hi or introducing myself, I have to put myself out there. All of this to say that I think it's important to live on your own before you live with a partner. Everybody's different. That might not be the case for you, and that's totally okay. But I decided that I wanted to move out on my own. My logical physical mind was like, how in the shit are you going to do this, Laura? Like, this makes no sense. How are you going to do it? Oh my God. My nervous system was not acclimated to this reality at all. So I had been looking at apartments on Facebook Marketplace for a while, just looking, visualizing, getting an idea. Do I want it to look like this? What do I want? How many bedrooms? This. And as time went by, I was able to pinpoint what I wanted even more. So, this is something I want to tell you. If you have a goal, a desire, something you'd like to accomplish, you need to get specific and not specific because God doesn't know what to bring you, specific so that you actually know what you want. Because I think people are like, yeah, I know what I want, but it's very genuinely speaking like, okay, you want to move out, but like, how many rooms do you want? What's the layout of the kitchen? How many bathrooms? Like what do you want the bathroom to look like? Do you have a patio? What are the amenities that come with the building? And for a long time, I was like, oh, I can't wait to move out. But I didn't have an answer to all of these questions. I didn't know. So I was able to be like, okay, I think a one bedroom is fine. I don't need a two bedroom because to be honest, guys, I spend a lot of money on outdoor coffee. I go to the coffee store pretty much every day. And some people might say, "Oh my god, that is such a useless fucking expense." You need to understand that like I work from home. Like I get to choose where I go to work and create and produce and I like to go to coffee stores. So yeah, $5, I'll do it. So I was like, you know what? I'd rather spend that extra rent money that I'd spend on a second bedroom that would be an office on coffee stores. Perfect. We can identify that. Perfect. Okay, let's go. Do you want a patio? Yes, I want a patio. I knew I wanted an island for the kitchen, like a white island overlooking the rest of the apartment. Perfect. We know what the kitchen looks like. So it's just these little details. So if right now you have a desire of like, oh, I want a new car, ideally, what color do you want it to be? Ideally, is it a manual drive or an automatic? Is it two-door, four-door? Just like get more specific, just so you know exactly what it is. And if you don't know those little specific details, maybe it's because it's not the right aligned time. So I would stay in the energy of gratitude. Thank you so much now that I know exactly what I want this to look like and how I want this to feel. Because it's important to do that for our own selves. And I think that if it is truly aligned for you, well, God will just make it happen. It'll just fall into place, kind of like it did with me, because shit. I was just looking on Facebook Marketplace, like I said, to visualize, to get an idea. And then at some point, I was like, the whole purpose of visualization is like stimulating your senses. And I talk about this in my How to Write a Successful Life Script ebook because you need to like involve your senses. What does it look like, smell like? Because the thing is, your subconscious mind doesn't know what's real and not real. So you need to literally simulate the experience as if it has already happened. How can you do that? How can you make it as real as possible? This is why people go to the car dealership and they sit in the car that they want so they know what the steering wheel feels like. I did that. I went to the Jeep dealership and now I'm driving a Jeep. So it's like the more real you can make it for your brain and the more you can use those little details to visualize. So I was like, you know what? To make this real, maybe I should just go start visiting apartments for fun. So I know, I just know what it feels like to visit an apartment. So there was this like city, not a city, but a place. Like I think it's an hour and a half drive away from my hometown. My little hometown that I've lived in my entire life. I feel so safe there. I'm in a little cocoon of protection in the woods in my own little world, right? But I was feeling that there was something within me that was like, we need to grow. Like we're stagnating right now. And I realized how much I crave connection, yet I keep myself isolated. So I don't know if you guys can relate to this because it's like, oh, I want friendships, but then it's like you actually push them away energetically. Like there is something within your energetic field that people don't want to come talk to you because there's a fear or there's something activated, right? So if we don't become aware of that, well, we're just going to keep being like, "Ugh, why don't I have any friends?" And this is just a side note, but I know if you've been following the podcast for a while, listening to me for a while, if not, hi, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. So, if you haven't been following the podcast for a while, I know that I often say, like, oh, I don't really have friends. That's bullshit. Laura, that statement is bullshit. I realized that the longer that I use this little victim mentality of, like, oh my God, I don't have friends. And, like, when am I going to get friends? Like, what are you doing? You're literally entertaining the vibration of not having friends. So I decided to stop saying that because it is not true. I might not have a best friend that I can be on the phone with every single day. I don't think I would need that. Anyways, right? There are people who have friendships and we compare ourselves to them, or maybe we compare ourselves to relationships of the past. Because, yes, I've had friendships with girls. We would be on the phone a lot. We would see each other like so many times a week, and it's fine. But then it's like, be realistic with yourself. Like, would that match your life right now? Is that actually what you want? Do you actually want a friend where you're glued at the hip? So I was like, okay, I'm going to stop comparing. I'm going to stop saying I don't have friends because that's not true. I have people, so many people, including you guys, who care about me. I have so many people that like I can call up and, hey, do you want to go get a coffee? Okay. Might not be on a best friend, I'll see you every single week type of thing. But like I said, do you actually need that? The things that you're like, oh, I would love to have that in my life. Would it actually fit? Is it actually what you want? Or again, it's just comparison and it's just like, oh, well, if I had this, maybe I would be happier. You're allowed to set an intention of like, oh, I would love to have friends that I see more frequently, that I do more activities with. Perfect. You know exactly what you want now. You know what you can focus on. So, anyways, to get back to the apartment thing. So, I go on Facebook Marketplace and I find an apartment and I schedule a visit, right? And it was in the town, like I said, that's an hour and a half away from my hometown. Now, mind you, I have no idea why I felt drawn to coming to this place. And I had never actually been before that day. There was something that was like, you know what? It's not in the city exactly, but it's close to the city. It seems to have enough action, but not too much. And I will never be a city girl. Like, I don't need to go live in the city of Montreal. Because if you didn't know, like, I'm in Quebec, basically. So I don't need to go live in the city of Montreal to know I don't fucking like it. Okay. Like, it's too much noise, too many people, too many things, overstimulation. I would not feel good there. So that's another important detail. You have to be honest with yourself, right? But I also think it's important to make ourselves uncomfortable because obviously I'm a country girl. I've been living in the woods my entire life. The most noise I hear is the garbage truck on Sunday morning. Like there is no noise at my house. So it was definitely a concern of mine to move out and be like, oh my God, there's traffic, there's cars, there's people. But here's the thing. I decided I was going to fully immerse myself in the matrix in whatever way it was calling my being. And that was moving into a city slash not too busy type of city. So I book the visit for the apartment and my mom comes with me. We arrived to the little town that I was drawn to and I'm like, "Wow, I really like the vibe of this place. Wow, I want to live here. Like this is so interesting." Like I don't know why I was just so captivated. And it's so funny because it's like I truly think our intuitions are always guiding us because it's like I had never been here. I didn't even know. Everyone was talking about, "Oh yeah, go here, go here." And I'm just I prefer not to say where it is because I don't know. I just don't want people to know where I live, or I guess that's my own thing. Whatever. So, we get to the apartment building. We visit the first apartment and I'm just like, the bedroom, literally the only thing that fits in there is a mattress. I was like, yeah, that ain't it. And the view from the patio was like a construction site. I was like, no, this is not going to work. Funnily enough, on Facebook Marketplace, another person responded to me that I had reached out to. Hey, can I come visit this apartment? And they said, well, I could do the visit, but it's 7:30 p.m. tonight. So I asked my mom, I was like, do you really want to spend the entire day here killing time? She was like, yeah, fuck it. Like, we're already here. So me and my mom spend the entire day, going to stores like Home Goods and TJ Maxx, and we went to like a grocery store, we got a coffee here. We were killing time basically. And obviously at some point we were getting tired. We were like, fuck, it's getting late. Like, can this shit happen already? 7:30 comes around, and then we meet with the girl downstairs, and I'm like, wow, I really like this building. I see myself living here. I was just so excited. I could just see myself living here, coming downstairs in the morning. I was like, wow. So we visit the unit, and I'm just like, I tend to be very not impulsive, but when I'm living a high emotion, it's high. When I'm living a low emotion, it is low. And I remember when I looked at my human design, if you don't know what human design is, I highly suggest you check it out because honestly, I don't base myself off of anything, but if it resonates, I will check it out. And what it said in my human design is do not make decisions when you're very excited or like very sad. Wait to be at a stable emotional state before making a decision. So obviously I was super excited. I see the place and then I'm like, mom, like, wow, like I really like this place. Like I really want to live here. I think this is perfect, blah, blah, blah. Haha. You know what's funny? I reached out to someone else on Facebook Marketplace who had another unit in the very same building. So I was already able to identify this is the building I want to live in. Now, is this the unit? So I'm talking with the other person and they're like, yeah, you could come in 2 days. So I basically had to wait 2 days, 3 days. The third day, when I could finally go visit the other unit in the same building, my dad came with me and my mom. So it's the same building. I already know that, okay, let's go. Let's just go see another unit. So the unit is like on a higher floor. I walk in and everything is so white and bright. And I'm just like, oh, wow. And I just knew that like this is where I was going to live. I was just like this is where I'm going to live. And the vibe of the people too were different from the same person I met. Like the first person was super nice, but there was just like an energy that was just so inviting and calm about the second people that I met with. And I just loved everything about it. I was just like, yes, yes, yes. I already see where I'm going to put the furniture, how I'm going to like decorate this place. Like I want in. And then obviously we start the process of like signing the lease and blah, blah, blah. It didn't even take a week, 2 weeks, and then the lease was signed. And I just had to wait a few weeks for them to move out. Okay. I was just visiting apartments for fun. I was just like, oh, I'm just going to visualize. And then it just happened because it ended up that it's exactly what I wanted. I was guided exactly where I was supposed to go. And when it was time to take the action, I did with complete faith, might I add. And this is what I want to talk about mainly in this episode because, yo, holy shit. Basically, the entire month of May was the month that I had to kill time before moving in. So I basically spent the month of May shopping for my furniture, gathering, going shopping for like plates and utensils and all of these things that you need when you move into an apartment for the first time because you don't have anything. And mind you, I have been buying stuff for my apartment for the past year or two. Like every time I would go to Home Goods or Winners or Marshalls, whatever, I would buy something when I saw that I liked it. And it's just really freaking cool that I had been entertaining that for so long because I knew that the day would come, right? That I would need spoons and knives and I had already started buying them. So it was really cool to like take all that shit, put it in a box and then finally put it in my first kitchen. So the month of May was super fun because obviously, what couch do you want? What bed frame do you want? All of these things. And I just felt so like almost overwhelmed with gratitude that like I could do this, Like I'm sitting on my new couch right now and it's just so beautiful, it's so comfortable and it had been on my vision board for a long time, like on my Pinterest board. And the fact that like I'm sitting on this and it's just so cozy and I've made a home for myself, it's like it's a different type of feeling. And I'm just so grateful for it. Like yesterday, I was sitting in my living room watching something on TV and I was like, wow, like I'm here. It's crazy to think there are so many moments that we visualize and we pray for, we dream for, and then when it's here, it's like, oh shit. Because I did spend a lot of time wanting to move out. Like, I remember maybe 3 years ago, I felt so discouraged. I hadn't started making videos. I didn't know what I was going to do. I was literally like, what the fuck am I doing? I had no idea what I was going to do. And I just remember I wanted my life to change so bad because it was like, I'm going in a cycle. I'm tired of my life being the same. And if you want to get out of the current reality that you're in, you have to first accept it, right? You cannot resist where you currently are because like you're miserable there and you're tired of being there and you just want to start living your life because essentially like nothing is real. Nothing is real, but the more that we fuel that fire of dissatisfaction, that dissatisfaction or discouragement that you feel towards your current reality is simply something trying to get your attention within. And I know that's super annoying, right? I think I had so many beliefs and patterns and shit like that I hadn't yet identified that made it that I could not shift where I was because there were still so many things for me to see. So I just want to tell you, I know that maybe you're experiencing frustration in certain aspects of your life or the entirety of your life, and you wish that it could just change overnight. But I think that when you're able to just trust that you are always at the right place at the right time, surrounded by the right people, you always get the ideas, right? I think the biggest key element to this thing is you need to act on those ideas that you have. If you want to start making videos, if you want to start a business, if you want to change your career path and go back to school, like whatever it is. We all have those little callings, those little nudges that we brush off. And I talk about this so often because I nudged off my inspiration of writing books and making videos for so long. And it's what I'm supposed to do. Like when God calls you towards something, well, the longer you don't listen to it, I just don't think you cannot be punished for not listening to a calling. You will only feel dissatisfied because essentially it's not exactly what you want, right? You might get a job that's good enough. You might get a partner that's good enough. But essentially, if like there's a calling for more and you're not listening to it, I think you're just the one who's going to feel not as happy as maybe you could. So, I think you also need to be willing for it to take some time, right? Like, yes, our lives can change over the blink of an eye. Something can happen. You can win the lottery, whatever it is. But I think when you are willing to be patient, like if you have this dream, this desire, this goal, and you're willing for it to take time, you're kind of like, you're unbeatable because it's like, if you're not afraid of it taking time, if you're willing to keep putting in the work and just keep acting because it feels good and you're inspired and like, fuck yeah, it's a fuck yeah. Well, you really have nothing to lose because you feel so good. And that energy is so freaking magnetic, but people only do it for the outcome, right? Oh, I'm only going to do this for a certain amount. Like I'm only going to eat healthy for 6 months because then I'm going to get lean. No, you're going to gain the weight back if that's how you're operating. Oh, I'm only going to get this job because it's going to pay really well and then like I won't have to worry about money. You're probably going to be miserable if you're only doing it for the money. That's why I always ask, if it wasn't about money, what would you be doing? And then find a way to do that so that it can make you the money that you want to make, if that makes sense. Because I think that obviously in the matrix type of like subconscious programming that we all operate on, it's like always trying to check those boxes, always trying to get everything right. And like, how can I make money? How can I pay my loans? I get it. But like God can literally intervene for you at any time. So if you're only playing with the logical, realistic, physical illusion side of things, it's really hard for like infinite divine consciousness to step in and work a little miracle or work some magic, you know? And obviously, if you don't believe in that magic, that it exists and that it exists for you and it wants to work for you, like I think for a long time, I believed that like this little magic that everyone was talking about couldn't apply to me. But that was only unworthiness. That was only my inability to receive. So the month of May, I had to get acclimated that, oh my God, I just signed a lease. Oh my God, I'm going to have so many more expenses than before. Oh my God, I'm going to move out of my parents' house. Oh my God, I'm going to live on my own. I'm going to go to sleep by myself. I'm never going to, like, it was just so many things that I was trying to wrap my head around. And I could not wait to finally get in this place. so that it would stop driving me fucking crazy. I knew that there was going to be so many little changes that I was going to have to get used to, and I just wanted to start getting used to them, right? But first, I had to sit with the discomfort of like, I have now chosen a new reality and there's no backing out now. Like, you signed the lease, you're in this thing for at least a year. And I've been realizing how I don't have a fear of commitment, but I have a fear of being stuck in something and not being able to leave. And I've been like, realizing that it has a lot to do with my childhood. I will share this because I don't know, maybe you guys can relate to some of this. That's why we love to be vulnerable and share so that maybe you realize something. When I was a kid, I would go to sleepovers and I pretty much never made it through the night. I would always call my mom, come pick me up. There would always be something. I would panic and mom, come pick me up. And because I have the best mom in the world, she always came to pick me up. Now, some of you may argue, oh my God, your mom should have left you there, blah, blah, blah. I get it. But I was so grateful that she did. Because honestly, like there were so many times I was somewhere and I was like, get me the fuck out of here. Right. But I do think that it created this pattern, this whatever it is within me to always want to leave. The only place that has ever felt safe for me is my home with my parents and my brother and my cat. That is the only safety that exists. And if you've understood by now that we are survival beings trying to keep ourselves safe at all times, then you will understand that you might not like where you are, but if it is safe to your body, your nervous system, your subconscious, you're going to stay there. So I realized that my body had been keeping me safe by like I've been rejecting so many things like energetically because it did not feel safe. Having friends was not safe. Moving somewhere else was not safe. Like it has always been keep yourself safe and stay home. Literally, I have spent an abnormal amount of time in my home. And that's why I knew that moving out would force me to make myself uncomfortable. And I think that this is truly what I needed for my growth because sometimes it feels like we hit ceilings, right? It's like, oh, well, I could keep doing what I'm doing, but is there something I could be doing that would make me uncomfortable that would actually require me to grow? Because there's nothing wrong with staying in your comfort zone. But if you are asking for more, calling in for more, um some energy cannot like there are certain energetical patterns that cannot go together. So that's why sometimes when you start living in your authentic vibration, when you start speaking up and doing the things you really want to do, there's shit that falls away. There are vibrations that cannot go to where you're going. So I had to let go of that fear of needing to stay home. And I'm not going to lie to you. Like the first night, I was like the night before I got the keys, I was like, holy shit, like here we go, like a new chapter type of thing. Right. And it's okay. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing that life does not stay the same. But I think because we're such comfort and, like I said, safety beings, we want things to stay the same because then it's familiar, then it's known. And if we know what's going to happen, if we expect what's about to happen, then we're safe. Right. It's not safe. It's just familiar. You already know this, but it's such a tricky game when you're in it, right? This is your video game. This is your reality. So it's like you sometimes won't see how you're keeping yourself safe in your familiar environment, whether that's your job or your relationships or the physical place you live in. So I think it's important to check in with ourselves like, am I actually keeping myself small right now? Because I didn't think I was, right? In my brain, it was like, oh, I'm just going to wait for the right time and like, oh, like I love living with my parents, I love them. Just these types of excuses that your subconscious presents you with so that you won't actually move. And I'm super grateful that like everything lined up so easily, and I was like, damn, if it's this easy, that means it's supposed to happen. And I'm just the whole month of May was like stress because my subconscious was like, what are you doing? Oh my God, you have rent, you have this, you have this, you have this, you have this. A total shift for the nervous system, right? But I knew I was going to be fine. It is a divine knowing within your being. You already know you're provided for. You already know everything is taken care of. But it is allowing your physical vessel that is designed to keep you safe and to protect you, that is freaking the fuck out, that is going to try to win you over. And it didn't work. I'm not going to lie. I had a few moments of panic. And obviously, I'd have some conversations about it with my big brother because he would just like reel me in and just be like, well, is there actually any truth in that? No. Okay. Well, then it's just your brain freaking you out with fear. And it's normal. It does that to every single one of us. But I had a moment where, if you guys know, in February, my dear neighbor, I always say my dear neighbor, she was like my grandma. Her name was Riva. And I love her so much. And I still think about her every single day. I went in her house during the month of May because my mom said there were maybe boxes in her basement that I could use to move. So I was like, oh, I'm going to go look. And Riva, basically, she was this like graphic designer. She was very good at writing. She had like a bomb ass handwriting. And she would have so many post it notes all over her house. And as I was walking through her house, I was just like reading some of them, right? And there's a few that stuck out to me and I took them, right? Because no one else is going to. Like, basically, there's a lot of like riddance that is going to have to happen. So I was like, oh, I want these post it notes. So there was one that says, I trust you, Jesus. Okay. And we're not going to get into this whole religious thing. Okay. I don't consider myself Christian or Catholic or whatever. I have just been opening myself up to these types of things because I was very resistant before. And as you guys know, I've talked about this a few times. I now speak to God instead of the universe, and I work on my faith a lot because I realize that that's what it is. Like, if you do not trust the infinite divine consciousness that is working in your favor at all times, then it won't. That's just how it is. So I saw this posted that said, I trust you, Jesus. And I don't know why I felt called to grabbing it. And I put it in the back of my phone. It's in my phone case at all times. And Riva, she was the most generous person where she literally gave and helped anybody she could. Like, she was like, you need money? I will help you. You need this? I will help you. She was always the most thoughtful and generous person. And I think that when you are so willing to give with so much love, literally no resistance, no blockage, no fear, nothing. This girl knew that she could give you a check for however much and she'd still be good, you know? Like, her mission was to help and do good in this world. And I think like every single person has so much to learn from that because I think obviously a lot of us like we think with so much like rational and logical the logical aspect of our brain where it's like I'm not going to give too much because what if I don't get it back. I'm not going to give too much because I'm scared that like it won't come back to me. I won't give too much because I need to hold on really tight to what I have because I don't think that I'll get more, something like that, right? And there is definitely not a healthy balance between giving and receiving for everybody, I think, because we've been just so trained to give. I think so many people are traumatized at receiving, and it is fucking bad. People are like, oh my God, why am I not making more money? Blah, blah. You can't receive. You don't want to receive it. You don't think you're good enough to receive it. You don't feel safe to receive it. You're actually scared of being happy. You're actually scared of being the person that smiles and says thank you when you receive something because you're scared of of someone thinking you're selfish. Like, I remember thinking, I don't want to receive because then I'll look like all of those superficial surface level people who just love to take. Like, I've had trauma with takers, right? Because I've I would like to consider myself a giver. I give with all my heart. I give everything I got. And there are people who want to take, right? Because maybe they've never gotten that or like I don't know. So I never wanted to be perceived as someone who's entitled and I just take. There's a difference between taking and receiving. And that's the difference that you need to teach your subconscious mind because it's like, you're not taking anything, you're receiving. Like, you're not here to only give, you're here to receive this experience. You're here to receive everything that comes with accompanying you with everything that you need for the highest alignment in this experience. So, you need to get good at receiving. You need to realize it is not about being selfish, self centered, egotistical. Like, yeah, there are 100% people that receive and it is taking and it is taken for granted as well. Like, there's nothing worse than when you give something to someone, you offer something to them and they don't even value it. They don't give a fuck. It's just brushed off. Like, that's the worst. And I think it's just that's the thing. You can't receive because you fear being perceived a certain way. And I would say there are a lot more people who are good at giving than receiving. So Riva was really, really good at giving. But when we were, giving to her, sometimes I could feel the resistance, when we would give her like a little something. Like, sometimes I would bring her croissants. Don't like this girl would eat them anyways. Like, I'm not saying she didn't take the croissants, but it's like, the healthy balance in this universe, this energetical vibrational universe that we exist in, everything needs to come to balance. And when it's not balanced, you will attract what needs to be balanced. So if you feel like you only attract takers, right? Maybe you need to get good at not taking but receiving. It needs to be balanced out. Hence why we attract the opposite of the thing that we need balanced out. So when I saw the I Trust You Jesus posted, I was like, this woman was so provided for and so taken care of her entire life. I should probably follow her footsteps a little bit because I think she knew what she was doing. And she was always just so generous and she had so much faith and she always like, would say things like obviously she went to church. She would always say like thank the Holy Spirit and stuff like that. And I wouldn't say like I'm at that point of like, preaching and God blah, blah, blah. But I just think there's so much good truth in that we've unfortunately been steered away with thanks to the new age the new age spirituality movement, or when you go into the conspiracies of religion and you know how it was controlled and used to control, it's like harder to open yourself up to that. And I think that this reality is designed to make you forget your connection to God, to the creator of all that is. And there is so much resistance and there are so many things trying to steer you away from that because it is as good as it is. Like the unconditional love that is being offered to you in every moment that you resist based off of your fears and your subconscious wiring and blah, blah, blah. That's the challenge. The challenge is overcoming your own beliefs, and your own beliefs have been constructed thanks to this physical reality. So it truly is just a video game. And it is hard. Obviously, I'm not telling you that I want you to sit down and always look at your wiring and always look at your patterns. I want you to enjoy your life as well. And I think this is why people enjoy my content so much, because enjoy the fuck out of the matrix. Like I don't understand why people are like, "Oh my god, that's so matrix of you." Yeah, what about you? It's like so many people think that they've unplugged and they're so much better now because they wear barefoot shoes and like they never eat out at a restaurant because oh my god, seed oils is terrible, it'll kill you. I get it. But like I unsubscribe. I unsubscribe. I'm not subscribed to those beliefs, okay? And I truly think that the reason people are so overwhelmed during their awakenings is because there are people who have gotten more time to get acclimated to that reality. Also, side note, you need resources to detoxify your environment. I saw a video of a guy, showing his house and grounding bed sheets. He can turn off the Wi-Fi. There's no LED light bulbs. In the modern world, do you know how hard it is right now to have every single thing perfectly? It's almost impossible. And like obviously me moving into an apartment building, I'm aware that the Wi-Fi is always turned on and it's fucking bad for me. I'm aware that the tap water coming out of the sink is fucking shit. I'm aware. Does that mean I stay small? Does that mean I stay fearful? No. If you believe in the power of your divine consciousness existing within your body, if you believe in God that is making your heart beat every single second, why are you so scared? Like, I can't. I was like, obviously, like I just said, my brain was like, oh my God, you're really going to move into an apartment and there's going to be like more toxins and it's going to be like really hard. The more that, like I said, you subscribe to that, the more that you subscribe to those fears, you subscribe to those beliefs, you're going to have a limited experience. You're going to have a fearful experience. There are people where maybe they've known these things a little bit longer. There are people where maybe there's just like an instant shift that has been made within their head. I'm not at that point, and I'm not here to demonize you. I'm not here to shit on you if you're not at that point of wanting to cut out everything that's bad for you and whatever. I'm really not at that point, and I genuinely don't give a shit anymore. Like if someone wants to come at me because I'm living a matrix life, blah blah blah, I really don't give a shit anymore because that's not the purpose of life. You are not here to be as anti-matrix as you can be. You're not going to be more loved by God. You're not going to make more money. It's not nothing like that. We're not in fucking kindergarten where the better you perform, the more stars you will get. This is not life, okay? God loves you even when you make mistakes. God loves you even when you don't choose what he wants you to choose in a way where it's unconditional love. You are giving yourself conditions that you must follow in order to be loved, in order to be healthy. You could choose that you're perfectly healthy right now. Okay, yes, maybe there are certain habits you can change. Yes, maybe you can buy a water filter for your water. I highly suggest it even. But it's letting go of that fear, letting go of like, if I don't do this, I will be like punished for it. If I don't change my water filter and I don't get an air filter, I'm going to shave off 10 years of my life. Quite frankly, you're not the one who chooses when you go. So I don't know if that helps any of you, but like everyone's out here, I want to live a long life. Well, it's not your call. I don't think it's your call. I think it's God's call to be like, okay, time's up or something like that. But I could be wrong. I'm not saying that oh my God, listen to me with everything that you got. Anyways, I obviously go on so many tangents during my podcasts, but I haven't filmed in a while. So obviously I have a lot to say. But, anyways, guys, the post that I found in Riva's house, I trust you, Jesus. I had a moment in the month of May when I was freaking out about, the whole nervous system acclimation of like having expenses because yes, I've lived at my parents' house. And like, yes, when you live at your parents' house, you have expenses, but they're not as big as when you live on your own, right? So I wasn't fearful of that reality, but I knew that my nervous system was like, this is unfamiliar territory and I don't know if I'm safe. So I knew just throw me in there and I'll be safe. I know I'm already safe. Just let my nervous system know it is safe. And I was doing so many like nervous system regulation things. I was just trying to be like, chill the fuck out. Stop trying to stress me out for something that's not even real. So I just had a moment where I looked at the post it on my phone and I just had this moment of ultimate surrender of just like, this is not my fear. This is not my stress. It is not up to me to figure out, will my bills be paid? It is not up to me to wonder if, oh my God, am I going to get kicked out and be homeless and live on the street? That is noise. That is just noise. And the more that you subscribe to that noise by entertaining those thoughts and falling for that voice and believing, oh my God, it's true. I'm going to be homeless. How am I going to do it? Surrender. Surrender because ultimately, like I said, if something like this was willing to happen so easily and like so flowingly, how the shit would the resources to provide for it not be there? You know what I mean? I think we believe in the lack a lot too much because we were programmed. I think we believe in like, this can't happen. How is it going to happen? Because again, we were wired to think that way. But when you surrender and be like, there are so many resources in the world, and my only job is to identify what my desires are, what they look like, how they're going to make me feel, how excited I feel, how aligned I am, and how willing I am to finally embody this energy for myself now, and the resources will be there. That's it. No questions asked, not how, not when, not who, not I don't see how this can happen. Well, if you don't see how this can happen, it's just not going to happen because you need to see that it has happened and then it just will. Does that make sense? So I know that we think with our rational, logical aspects of the brain, and that's totally okay. But the I trust you, Jesus, was more like I trust you, God. I trust you, infinite consciousness. I trust you, infinite creative, all that is, because God can pay for it. God is not on a budget. I truly believe there. Nope. Nope. So if you think that there are not enough resources to fund whatever you're asking for, whether it is a new apartment, a new house, renovations, a new car, a new computer, a new phone, whatever it is, those desires that you have, if you think that God cannot fund them for you, you simply believe that you're not good enough to receive that like easily. Just being who you are, just being the amazing, unique being that you are with all your flaws and mistakes and talents and abilities. You don't think you're good enough for that because it's really simple. You're the one holding the door, you're the one locking the door. Okay. And this is not easy because I could tell you I'm worthy of having a $7 million house. But yeah, I can tell you right now that my logical, rational mind doesn't see that. It's like, what? How? So if your brain instantly goes with the how and with the 1,000 questions, maybe the jump is too big, right? I can see myself moving into an apartment. If you would have told me buy yourself $1 million house, no, nope. Nope, not there yet. And that's okay. But because of social media right now, people showing off their houses and how, oh my God, they made $1 billion overnight, that's fine. But stop comparing yourself to it. Stop shitting on yourself. Stop deeming yourself as a piece of shit because you didn't make $1 billion overnight. It has nothing to do with your self-worth. It has nothing to do with your mission or what God wants you to do in this world at this time. So the more that we compare ourselves to it, don't flush it out. If you need to delete social media, if you need to stop scrolling just for the mental health aspect of like, because personally, I compare myself a lot unconsciously. I want you to realize when you're scrolling on social media, it is on an unconscious level that you are looking at all of this information in front of you and that you are comparing it to your experience. But there's no point. There's no point. Yeah, but there's a girl who's like 18 years old and she just made $10 million. And like I could do that. Why haven't I done that? I'm a piece of shit because I could have done that. No. That is noise. It is noise. Please just remind yourself that all of those shitty thoughts, it's just noise. Yes, you can look at them, but do not embody them. Don't feed them. Don't invite them in your house for a fucking cup of tea and biscuits. So it's just really interesting because the moment that I had that moment of surrender, I was just like, I'm going to be taken care of. I'm done stressing out. I'm done wondering if, how, when, and where, and what. It's not my job. It is not my job. And yes, it can be hard to do. So that's why whenever my physical mind tries to reel me back in, I just say, I trust you. I trust you. I trust you as having faith. I trust you as I trust something that I cannot see with my physical senses in this third dimensional reality, but I trust you. I trust you because I've been taken care of up until this moment, and maybe you guys have had experiences where you were not taken care of. But in reality, being taken care of means that you're alive. Okay? So you might not be in the best conditions that you want, but you're taken care of because you're alive. Because if you're alive in this world, there is like the divine infinite creator is taking care of you. And there are infinite resources. And it sucks to say, but yes, maybe those lower vibrational experiences are serving something to build you up. And we don't all go through the same low vibrational experiences, right? There are some that I would deem as worse than others. But I think that there's a lot of separation, right? Because oh well, this person's been through less trauma than me, so I'm better than them, right? The more trauma you go through, the more compassion you should receive from the world. But in trauma is not like this is better and this is more and this is worse and this qualifies for more. Like, no, they are simply different experiences. They are simply different life missions, life paths, in my opinion. And I truly think that everything we go through is just God's doing. So the more you can surrender and trust that it's exactly what needed to happen in the format that it did, you have nothing under control. The more you try to control, nothing's going to happen. So ultimately, the only thing you can do is surrender. And I know it's not an easy job. I know how hard it is, but believing the noise in your head is even harder, essentially, because it's just like it's not true, it's lies, so it's just steering you away from reaching your own truth. So the whole month of May was just, am I going to be provided for? I am provided for, but how? I just know I am, but why? No, you're good. And I wanted to share that with you because I think that when we do make decisions or when we do jump on something or we do something, obviously there is that human aspect within our brain, the ego, that is going to be like, there's no way that this is possible. There's no way this is going to happen. Something bad is going to happen. Something bad is going to happen. That is your nervous system saying, I really don't feel safe. Your job is to regulate your nervous system because if you have this level of awareness, you can understand that like everything is fine. There's not a tiger chasing you. Um, there's not fucking, there's your only job is to convince your nervous system that it is safe right now because your nervous system is operating on its past battlefield, that it thinks it still needs to go to war to. So, yes, this reality is demanding when you go through the self awareness route. Yes, this journey is demanding when it feels like all you do is look and identify and feel and release and surrender and trust. So, this is why I truly believe you need to enjoy your experience. So, if that means eating a Matrix chocolate bar, if that means going to the movies, if that means whatever it is, okay? I am the advocate on the internet that will tell you live your experience however you want to experience it at this time. There is nothing wrong, there is nothing bad. We have learned to label positive, negative. And I can vouch for this because, like, I've identified a fear of making the wrong decision. You cannot make the wrong decision. The choice has already been made. Okay. And I think that this has been very not helpful for me, but it's been very freeing to be like, oh, I can't actually make a bad decision. I can only learn. And that sounds so surface level advice. Like if I saw a video of someone saying, you can't make a mistake, you can only learn. Like, ew, that's so surface level. I want depth. What is that? Like, is that a fucking quote on Tumblr? No, give me depth. But it's true. We're all here to learn, okay? And I think that we put so much pressure on ourselves that we're supposed to have it perfectly figured out, and we want to impress others with how smart we are, how much money we make, how valuable we are, right? It is noise. It is just noise. It is just pressure. It is just anxiety. It is just so much scarcity. It's noise. Your only job is to say, I love you, but no thank you. I love you, but no thank you. I know I'm good enough. I know I'm provided for. I know I am aligned. I know that I can trust my ability to make decisions. Okay. And I made a video about this, but I'm going to end this podcast episode with this. If there is something in your life that you want or you're struggling with, I highly suggest you like concoct a sentence that starts with I now allow blah 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 easily. So let's say you want to change your weight. I now allow myself to weigh X amount of pounds with complete ease and love. Thank you so much. Something like that. And I think it's really, really important to develop this habit of always like returning to that sentence of I now allow myself to. I now allow myself to be so easily provided for with so much love and grace. Thank you so much. I now allow myself to welcome in so many aligned and divine friendships into my life. Thank you so much. Whenever your brain presents you with a thought of anxiety, doubt, lack, scarcity, worry, whatever, your only job is to reel it back in. I love you, but no thank you. I now allow myself to make however much money per month easily. Okay. Anyways, I could be talking for hours. I just wanted to give you that little nugget. I now allow myself, whatever it is that you want in your life, even if it's just peace of mind, I now allow myself to have complete peace of mind in every aspect of my life with complete ease. Thank you so much. Just something like that. And it's really not that hard. Do not use ChatGPT to fucking concoct a sentence. You can do it. I believe in you. Like so many people are relying on that shit way too much now. But anyways, um, I'm in my new apartment. I'm so excited. I will keep doing podcast episodes like at my parents' house, obviously with the on the Lolo sign. I wanted to leave it at the house because this place is not necessarily big. So I didn't want to like put a fucking sign on the Lolo, even though I could. It's just not the vibe because right now my apartment is looking very like Pinterest decorated. Like I just pretty much finished my living room and I'm just like, wow. Like I'm such a girl because like, oh my God, I got these throw pillows for my couch and the carpet and I'm just like, wow. But that excites me. And for a long time I discontinued my desires because I was like, that's kind of stupid. Why would you spend so much money on this? Do you want it? Does it make you feel good? Does it excite you? Does it enhance your experience? Do it. Okay. We'll figure out the rest later. God provides for anything that you want, unless you don't think He can. Jeez. So, anyways, I hope you guys are all doing amazingly well. It is now summer, technically. So I hope you guys are tanning, taking in that sun, doing some grounding. I'm not. I'm just tanning, but I'm not grounding. I should. But honestly, it's a bit inconvenient and see excuses. Well, I love you and thanks for listening to me. Thanks for tuning in today. I hope you enjoyed episode 28 of the On the Lolo podcast. And I will see you in the next one. Like I said all the time, hopefully soon. Hopefully soon. Whenever the flow wants to flow, I will get in the flow. Okay. So I love you and have a beautiful rest of your day or evening. And yeah, I'm gonna exit the room now.